Hey everybody, so today I have another video for the exclusively pumping series, and I am super excited about this video. I think I'll probably be saying I'm super excited about every single video that has to do with exclusively pumping. This video is going to be about stuff that you kind of need to know before you get started. I self-taught myself exclusively pumping for the first 3 months, and it wasn't until around 3.5 months, 4 months I think, is when I found my Facebook group, which I just cannot live without. I mentioned in the last video just how much I love them, and yeah, so I'll probably mention them in every video too. Just the first thing you're going to want to do is to see if your insurance covers a pump. It will save you hundreds of dollars. There really is a variety out there, and I'll be doing a separate video on pumps and my pump and things like that. Probably going to need a prescription if your insurance company does cover a pump, and you're just going to go to your OBGYN for that, tell her that your insurance company needs a breast pump prescription, she'll write you one, and then your insurance company will kind of explain to you if she sends it in, if you send it in, take it to the hospital, whatever. Me personally, my doctor wrote it, and then I just took it to the hospital, and then they took it, gave me a pump. That's how my personal insurance worked. But definitely check that out. Also, you're going to gather all the supplies, which will be in another video, and once I make that video and upload it, I'll have that linked in the down bar for you. But you're going to gather all the supplies that you're going to need for exclusively pumping. And you're going to want to make sure that you have the correct flange size, which is kind of difficult. If you would have came up to me even at 2 or 3 months postpartum and said, Alia, do you have the right flange size? I'd be like, what's a flange? I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that word right. That's just how I say it. This is the flange part of your pump. And what I'm talking about fitting is you want to make sure your nipple fits in this part right here. Your nipple should be close to the same size as this hole, but not actually touching any of the sides. It is a little tricky, I'm not gonna lie, as I mean, none of us are flange experts except for Josie. This right here is a 21mm flange. All Medela pumps come with a 24mm flange, and I was given 27mm in the hospital. And I started off with the 24s, which were okay. But then, for whatever reason, I thought I needed to go up a size, and I tried the 27s, which was excruciating, and I actually lost a good bit of my milk production because of it. Then I got into touch with Josie, which I'm going to explain who she is here in a second, but I got in touch with Josie, and she let me know that I could probably go down a size, and let me tell you, it is a game changer when you have the correct flange size. I'm not even kidding. Josie is actually one of the administrators in the exclusively pumping Facebook group that I'm part of. She is what we call on the EP group the nipple whisperer. It's a super weird nickname for anybody who's not in that group, but basically it's because she has sized hundreds of women for their correct flange size. I will leave everything in the bottom bar below. Everything that you're gonna need, everything that you're gonna want is gonna be down there, and if it's not, let me know. She knows how to size it, and I'm gonna have a document down there that has a link to a picture that you can refer to, among other things. So if you do want to get in touch with Josie, I'm gonna have all of her information down below, and she will let you know the kind of pictures that she's gonna need. She's gonna help you out. She's so great, and I highly, highly recommend her. The next few things are the most important, in my opinion, for exclusively pumping. You're going to want to pump every 2 to 3 hours daily and every 3 to 4 hours nightly for the first 12 weeks, because that's around the time that your supply is going to regulate. But don't be afraid, you know, if you have a slip up a day or two, you know, it's not a big deal. Just make sure you get back on track to that pumping schedule and just do your best. I know a lot of moms I've seen say that that's kind of impossible for them. Just aim to pump as often as you can. Ideally, for the first 12 weeks, like I said, you want to pump as often as your child would be nursing, but I understand that's hard for some people, so just do it as often as you can. This one is imperative. You want to pump until you're empty, and I mean always, 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 always pump until you're empty. I know there's women who work and pump, so they may not have a lot of time to sit around and pump and, you know, empty that fast, but it is really, really, really important, just because you emptying that breast is telling your body that you need that much milk, and pumping that frequently tells them that you need that much milk on a regular basis. Also, along the same lines as that, if you can, pump about 5 to 10 minutes after you empty, because that way it'll tell your body that you need even more milk. While you're pumping, it'd be a really good idea to also massage your breast really in any kind of motion that feels good to you. I really just kind of start from my way up and I push downwards. That really helps me. I don't have a middle of the night pump anymore, so I do go a 6-hour stretch in the middle of the night while I'm sleeping without pumping. So my first pump in the morning, my boobs are kind of pretty much rock hard, and I feel like massaging them definitely helps me empty faster. It just makes my boobs feel better, and it's awesome just to make sure you're getting all the milk that you can out. Also, if you have the time after you get done pumping, hand expressing is a good idea just to make sure you're absolutely emptied. I know quite a few women say that they seem like they're empty with the pump, then they get off the pump, and then they hand express and they actually get an ounce or two more. Me personally, I seem to empty all the way with my pump, but it could be beneficial to you. Lubricating your flange before you start pumping, which is just, you'll probably want to lube around this part and then just a little bit down inside where your nipple is going to go, will definitely help with any pain or discomfort you may be having. Coconut oil and olive oil are great for lubes, and it may even help with your milk output just because it will lessen the friction, which may help. Also, along the same lines, using lanolin as a lubricant may not be the best just because lanolin is so thick. It may cause more friction, which may actually decrease your output. So it's kind of better for after pumping with sore nipples. I liked it that way opposed to actually pumping with it. For bleeding or cracked nipples, you're gonna want to use what we call Apno, which is all-purpose nipple ointment. And there is a prescription for Apno, but it is extremely expensive. I know I got the prescription and then I went to the pharmacy, and even with insurance and everything, it was still like $50 or $70, somewhere within that range. So it's really, really expensive. It's a homemade recipe for Apno, which I'm gonna leave in the bottom bar below. Everything that I'm gonna be mentioning is actually gonna be typed up and written into a Google Doc for you guys, so you can actually go and look at these pictures and just kind of have a reference. So if you're interested in that, just go check out the Google Doc for it. If you do have bleeding or cracked nipples, you're just going to put Apno on it. Lanolin is okay, but I feel like Apno works better. Just keep them dry if you don't have Apno or lanolin on them, and make sure that they're clean. I personally like to wash them with my face wash that doesn't have like any perfumes or any acne medication, nothing crazy. It's just a simple face wash, and I just put it in my hand and then I just kind of rub in circular motions while I'm in the shower, just because that's the most comfortable way. I get sick at the thought of taking like a washcloth to it. Oh, I can't, no. Skin to skin and kissing and cuddling with your kids actually can increase your milk production, so that's really cool too. Keep hydrated at all times. Just drink whatever you're comfortable with. You know, like, there's nothing more miserable than shoving water down your throat when you really don't want to. But, you know, more water may help you with your production. Also, along the same lines, you're going to want to make sure that you're eating the correct amount of calorie intake for you. You're just going to want to add whatever the normal amount of calories you should be having a day, and just add 500 for the breastfeeding, and you'll be good to go. Although I have noticed in my case that if I eat more and I even go above those calories, I seem to get more of a milk production. Also, I know this is really hard to come by, but rest and relaxation will definitely help. I know those are like impossible two things, but I just try to not stress about things, which is also really hard. But I find that if I'm having a fight with Mark or I'm stressed out about something and I'm pumping, I literally won't get anything. Like, I won't get a drop even. And it's not until I've relaxed and calmed down that finally the milk will start flowing again. Stressing can actually even further diminish your milk supply. So just try to calm and relax, even though I know as mommies that's pretty much impossible. I'm just gonna go over the milk usage guidelines. Fresh milk is good at room temp for about 4 to 6 hours. And then in the refrigerator, it's good for 5 days. And then in a insulated bag with some ice packs, it's good for 24 hours. But I will say this much. As for fresh milk, every mother is different, and honestly, I use the taste and smell test more than I go off of these guidelines. There's taste your milk, or if you're not comfortable tasting it, which doesn't taste bad, it actually tastes kind of sweet. You can always smell it. If your milk is spoiled, it's going to smell bad and it's going to taste bad. Normal milk is going to have no smell and maybe a sweet taste, although some people have said it doesn't have a taste at all. And for frozen milk, the time you need to use it by starts at when it's completely thawed. So as soon as it's completely thawed, that's when you need to go by these guidelines. And at room temp, it's good for around 4 hours. In the fridge, it's good for 24, and you just want to make sure you use it use it up within that 24 hours. On to storing frozen milk. If you have a refrigerator that has the same door for the fridge and the freezer, it's going to be only good in there for about 2 weeks. If you have separate doors for your freezer and your fridge, it's good for 3 to 6 months. And then if you have a deep freezer, whether it's standing or a chest freezer, it's going to be good for 6 to 12 months. Now, like I said, I've seen women stretch that out longer. It's up to you. You know, this is your milk, it's your child. Do whatever you feel comfortable with. If you happen to be on any medication that you're worried about, whether it be, you know, a simple cold medicine or something more serious, just check kellymom.com, or you can obviously call your doctor and talk to them about it and see what they advise. This next bit, I wish I could just make a whole video on it, but I feel like that'd be a little bit excessive. It is pumping and drinking. You do not, I repeat, do not need to dump your milk if you are drinking. Pumping and dumping is so outdated and old. Do not even go by that. What you're going to want to do is, if you're sober enough to drive, you're sober enough to feed. That's the rule. If you're not sober enough to drive, then you can mix that milk that you end up pumping in with some sober milk. And then even if you're not comfortable with it, which is totally fine, you know, I understand, every mom can make that call, just go ahead and give your little one a milk bath. It's super awesome. With milk baths, you know, everybody has their own way, but personally, I like to give my daughter a bath first, then I empty the dirty water, and then I get her fresh, clean water. Then I just put in enough milk to make it cloudy, and then you just sit them in that for about 5 to 10 minutes. And it's great for skin conditions. It's great for all kinds of things. Like, the list is endless, but it also does make their skin super soft. You can also use it in their hair, and it's not going to be sticky. I know when you get it on your skin, breast milk's sticky, but it's not when it's in the water. It's really, really nice. And don't rinse, because it's great, and I actually prefer giving milk baths over giving or rubbing my daughter down with lotion. So, and for all you large-chested mamas out there, you can get a yeast infection in between your breasts. Actually, my recommendation of making sure that you don't get that yeast infection is just to keep your breasts lifted and separated, which will definitely help with, you know, everything that's kind of going on in there. And then also try to keep them dry. Baby powder works really well. And if you do start to get a rash, Apno works great for the yeast infection between the breasts. Next, I'm going to talk about like the problems that can arise with EPing. The first is thrush, which is just a yeast infection in your breast. Symptoms are normally like a red shiny nipple and areola. They're going to be itchy. It'd be like some white substance that you can't seem to wash off. It might even be in your baby's mouth. EPers can definitely get it, just like nursing moms can. You're just going to want to treat it just like you would if you were nursing, and you're going to want to go to the doctor and just get it checked out. You can use Apno in the meantime to kind of relieve some of that pain. And it is completely okay to feed your baby that milk while you have thrush. Next is metasis. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. I don't know. I've never even heard somebody say it out loud, so bear with me if I'm saying it wrong. But metasis is when you have an infection in your breast tissue. It is super, super painful. You're going to experience like flu-like symptoms. Your boobs are going to be sore. It is nothing to mess around with because it can get nasty really, really quick. Just make sure you get into your doctor as soon as you can, and they'll take care of it for you. Next is clogged ducts, which, basically, they're going to be really, really hard. You're not going to be able to get anything. If you do, it's going to be very minimal milk out. It's just it's gonna suck. You're going to know when you have a clogged duct, and basically what it means is just the milk has gone back into the clogged duct, and it's actually caused the duct to inflame, and it's painful. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want some heat. You can use dry heat like a heating pad, or wet heat like getting in the shower or the bath. Vibrating things work. I personally love my Clarisonic for it. Works like a charm. Other lady products are completely okay though. Massaging, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt so bad, but the massaging will help. And also pumping. Pumping's gonna hurt too, but the massaging and pumping are definitely gonna help you get that sucker out. And lastly, the couple things is supplementing, and do not feel bad if you have to supplement. We've all been there, and if we haven't been there, we've definitely been close. Something that just needs to be done. You're doing great. Keep up the hard work. Don't quit. You're doing awesome. You know, it's okay. Lastly, donor milk. If you're looking to get donor milk, I have a few websites which I will list down below. Like I said before, everything's gonna be down there for you guys. but I personally donate to a mom that I found her on Human Milk for Human Babies. The 4 is the actual number 4. So I found her on there, and they have a global page, but they do have individual state pages, so it's easier to find someone near you. You can donate, or you can post for looking for milk. So there's also Eats on Feets, which is also on Facebook. I will make a more lengthy and separate video on donor milk and just kind of all about that. So those are just kind of the things that I feel like you guys should know before you get into exclusively pumping. And like I said, everything's going to be listed down in the bottom bar. I'll break it up for you guys. Hope that you found this video helpful, and as always, thanks for watching. Bye.